Might feel weird.
And we're back with the little giggling drummers over here.
Hey.
Dan Clayton, Chris Dawson. All right, recap. We've done our intros. We've said who we are. We've talked about talent, gear, technique. Now we're going to talk about what it's actually like to be a working drummer or a working musician.
That's right.
Who wants to talk about this and around, the myths, what civilians may think, what we do and what we actually do?
It's quite a couple of really nice
Dan, I'm
memes.
going to fix up your nose here.
Oh dear.
It's falling off.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I just don't want to sit here improperly dressed.
We've all been at a party. Oh, what do you said, you talked about this before. What do you do? I'm a drummer. Yeah. What do you do for a job?
Yeah.
And then, who do you play for? This is this consistent theme. And because you don't play for 660, which is, all they can think about within New Zealand, or certainly not a world famous group. Oh,
Yeah.
and, we can get into, do we want that? Without throwing shade at anyone who is out there touring. I don't want it. You could not pay me enough to go on a tour.
That's right.
Don't want any part of it. My rate would have to be so high to pull me away from my family and what I got going on here. Forget it. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
So there's that whole thing.
And that's okay. Like, it's not like it's not like every single person who plays music needs to be in a arena or a stadium rock band. That is not the end goal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
No.
I think when I first started, I think that was probably something that I wanted to do. I was, again, like I said, I was really into U2, and they were doing those big stadium concerts, huge things. And
Massive production.
Yeah, it was amazing. I often think about that sort of that journey that possibly, you sort of dream about maybe. But I've got to the point where I was doing a covers gig. And it was New Year's Eve, Mangawai Heads.
Yep.
I think it was a huge amount of people, 2,500 people there or something. It was awesome. Amazing, It was for a band called the Anzacs back in the day, and then after I finished playing, I felt this real weird disconnect. For the band was going really well, the people were going off like a frog in a sock, and
Kiwi expression there.
and I didn't feel it. I thought I was going to feel this massive connection with thousands of people.
A high, right?
Yeah. And then it was like maybe a little bit later on, I saw Eric Clapton doing a concert. Like it was just a video, and I can remember seeing how big the stage was and how big the audience was.
So it was GAD?
It was, yeah. It was
Hyde Park thing.
Massive. And
you go, oh.
Yeah, and then
that's one of those Prince's Trust things where they actually have 100,000 people just in a park.
Yeah, exactly. But what I noticed the most is that the distance between the band and all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought
it's like 50 meters. And
I was going, even the people closest to them can't really see them.
No.
And so you're not really, I feel that maybe it would have been different perhaps if it was your own music. You've created this music, you're playing in this big
surreal moment of, oh my God, I'm reaching all these
people and they're singing our song that we created. I think
they're
maybe
vibing on what I'm doing that I've done, that I've put together myself.
So I think about that perspective sometimes, but I definitely that first time I was going, wow, actually I didn't dig it at all.
So are you saying before that you were generally really into things and you were part of the experience and you would...
Yeah, but my goal was to play, I wanted to play in front of 40,000, 50,000. That's what I thought would be, that was my ultimate goal, But then as I started playing and practicing, the feeling I was getting from playing drums
wasn't what you...
Yeah, in the audience, but when I was practicing, the feeling that I got was more intense for me. And I started feeling that. I was going, this is the feeling that I want. That part there, that's not actually it. It's like, because when we're practicing, or maybe we're in a band and you're practicing in that room, a small room, real tiny, and everyone's facing each other, and the sound's going around, and you hit those amazing notes or whatever it is that you're gonna, or that feeling is there. I love that.
100% the same.
Yeah,
I think there's an acoustic element to this, right? Whereas, like, if you're in a cafe playing at a low volume, it's clearly intimate. You're not mic'd up. There's no PA or whatever, and there's just that physical, however loud you play, or the literal sound of your cymbal is direct to that person.
Sure, that's right.
And I don't get particularly nervous these days playing, but that's a time when I'd get more nervous.
Sure.
Where people are really intent and like, oh, what's the band doing?
Yeah, that's right.
When I'm on a big stage and a big crowd, actually, it's the opposite.
It's not as personal, eh?
No. It's almost like I'm totally isolated. I've got my own foldbacks. I'm in my own little bubble.
Yeah.
And very little, there's this enormous sound coming out the front, but it's like, oh, I'm over here though.
Yeah. It's like doing shows, right? Sometimes you might be like, at town hall, you're under the stage.
Yeah.
In that little booth.
Yeah.
And you can't see anyone.
No.
But it might be rammed. How many fit in there? Is it 2,000 in there? I think something like that. I can't remember. Something like that. And then same with AOT, like I play there, every 6 months, and it's rammed with people. It's only exciting in our little band thing when we play well, and the cranking sounds like really, you hit your kick and it's like hitting through those subs, and you go, oh yeah,
So
I love
good.
that. But that's
There's no feedback from
there's no feedback. Yeah, I'm not thinking about the audience.
The best feedback you're going to get is a bass player looking at you.
Yeah, exactly.
That is literally it.
Yeah, that thing you find within the band. That's I
when
think
your bass
that's
player's going, you're talented.
Talent.
What type of snare drum are you using?
Yeah, that's right. What angle is that snare drum on exactly?
Intense spring tension.
Yeah.
So like the reality, if music is your living, if it's your job, it's likely it's not going to be much different to another job, right?
No.
You need to take care of accounts.
Yep.
You need to be on time.
Yeah.
All these things that are, it's
gotta be a
expected
salesman.
that you can play.
Yeah.
You're not even going to be getting hired for gigs or sessions if you can't play. So that's just expected. It's all the other stuff. Is this guy going to turn up? Is he sober?
Yeah.
Does he learn the songs quick?
Oh yeah.
Reliable.
Are you going to be going to the gig and the person knows their material?
Yeah.
It's kind of a biggie.
It's weird, like the sort of the different gigs that you can be doing in that context as well. Like if you're really pushing the gig side of things, I remember back in the day, like I'd have my regular cover band stuff, I'd be filling in with another funk and soul band, and then I'd have like a Sunday afternoon festival gig with a blues band.
Yeah, exactly.
In amongst teaching and amongst working at the Drum City store itself, And when you're gigging a lot, it's certainly in like an original context, there's no money.
No money.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I think, I was.
So it's
I think at one point I was in 5 original bands all at the same time, and I was on the dole.
And you feel busy, right?
Oh yeah, I was so busy.
You're full bore.
Yeah, but you're just no cash coming in, and it's okay when you're young, But
that's a big sort of mystique about, I guess, a working musician. Like I was making more money working in the shop.
Than the plane.
I'm making nothing.
Yeah,
doing full bore gigs. Like realistically, and again, it's like we touched on it earlier. It's nowhere near what you would think it would be. Like nowhere near.
Yeah,
you're doing a Sunday afternoon festival. It might be a couple $100.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah, that's right.
To play for 40 minutes.
Yeah, especially with like jazz gigs, right? I mean, when you're playing those things, I mean,
nothing.
You're doing 3 hours work and you're getting $100 or less,
and that would be a good one.
Yeah, and it's and then and people don't listen to you.
Exactly.
It's like your wallpaper. You're in there. You're playing. That's not, of course, all gigs. Because like you're saying, sometimes you go into a thing and people are actually listening to you, or you go to a jazz gig thinking that it's going to be a wallpaper gig, and you turn up and and people have actually paid and they're watching you, and you go, oh, what's
okay.
this?
Now I've got to play good.
Let me just shift gears
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing about that working musician, right? You don't know what's going to happen when you go to that gig. I mean, how many times you've gone to the gig and they say, okay, the gig is from 7 till 9 or something like that. You get there, nobody's in the bar, and they go, actually, guys, can you start at 8? Or something, and now it's pushed out, and of course you just say, oh, okay, whatever, because you know, at younger, you've got no family commitments or anything like that. You go, that's all right, that's cool, I'm all good with that. Like even that was a really hard thing for my wife to figure out. She's a scheduler.
Yeah,
she schedules things from here to there, and when we first got together, she goes, okay, so what time's your gig? And I say, you know, it's from, you know,
I don't know.
Oh no,
straight away. This is a fail.
You know how it's going to go. It's like, and so it's like from 7 till 9. We'll be, and she goes, okay, well, and it's in this area, so it's going to take you half an hour to get back. She's scheduled, you know, okay, you set up. How long does it take you to set up? Oh, well, you know, half an hour or something like that, you know. So okay, well, you'll be home at this time.
No.
And then I didn't. And she's like going, what? Where were you? I expected you home. And it's like, well, you know, and I had to, and then because of course, you know, after the gig, you start hanging out with people, because the way that you get more gigs is by talking to people after the gig. And so you don't know what that's going to be. You can't just suddenly pack your gear up and just bail. Well, sometimes you can, because nothing's happening. No one's around.
It's also like, you know, well, why were you late? Oh, well, the Auckland Blues were playing, and there was a rugby crowd in, and they were absolutely loving it. So we couldn't actually start until 10.
Yeah, that's right.
So hence I'm now home until at 2 or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And it's just what the gig was. And so as a musician, it's I hate to work with the pivot thing, but you know, but we do. We sort of it's improvising all the time.
You have to.
You don't know what's going to happen. What happens if you turn up and bass player has forgotten his lead, or something like that, or the power is bad, you know, the PA's like humming like anything, you know.
Yeah. There's no stage. You're on a paddock.
Oh yeah,
you guys are right there. It's pretty flat.
Yeah,
it's not really, man.
Where are we running power from? Oh, there's the cow shed over there. Have you got a cable?
Yeah.
Okay. What, you mean like a power lead? Like you want me to run it from there?
I mean, gig stories. That's a whole
other podcast.
That's in terms of what we actually do, like, I mean, I've said this a few times, without throwing shade at anyone, you can tell people who gig, and you can tell, you know, if someone posts a nice picture of their 25-piece Ludwig, and they've got a gong, and they've got, you know, they've home built a rack, and they've bolted it into the wall, and it's like, look, if you want,
this ain't gonna work.
If you want to make money, like, there's so many things here. The size of stages.
Oh my gosh.
You might be on a big stage.
Yeah.
Sure. You might not. And you've got to be there, you know, hey, our drummer hasn't made it. Can you do Elephant Wrestler in 3 hours? Yep. Sweet. I know I'm probably going to be taking a 2-piece. And, you know, someone might see the photo from that gig and go, oh, well, hey, mate, where's all your toms? It's like, can you see any room for toms?
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no space.
Yeah.
That's a real New Zealand thing as well.
Yeah.
Certainly in Auckland, where we are, there is no room whatsoever to bring
music's an afterthought.
Double kick,
like 2 bass drums and like all 14 splash cymbals and all of that. This is why you'll see in amongst guys who are actively gigging in Auckland, the majority of people are playing 4 and 5-piece kits.
Yeah.
And there is a huge number of guys and girls playing 3-piece kits, like kick, snare, floor tom, and a couple of cymbals. That's, I mean, my gigging kit for essentially like the last 5 years has been a 4-piece.
Same,
4-piece, you know, crash, ride, hats.
Yeah.
And I'm not a 4-piece player. I will never, I don't really like how it feels. If given the perfect opportunity, I'd play a 5 all the time with 2 crashes. That's my vibe. But as a working musician, and if you're doing that all the time, I didn't naturally feel very good on a 4. So therefore, you force yourself to play a 4. How do you get better vocab on a 4? You play it, and you play it routinely, and you play it in a pressure situation where you can't actually play a fill that may or may not work.
That's right. Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of this sort of things when it regards to like playing full time and or playing a lot, shall we say, because you might have a day gig as well. A lot of it comes down to actually maintenance as well.
Yeah.
So a theatre gig in NZ, which we've all done, you know, they're on a fairly limited sort of a scale as far as remuneration. Certainly in regards to like school stuff, there's no money there at all.
Koha only.
Exactly. And it's koha, which basically means here's $2.
Yeah.
At the end of a season.
Gold coin donation.
Pretty much.
You've done 2 weeks. Here's a sandwich.
Pretty much, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. But you don't take that gig for that.
No.
You take that gig because what an opportunity to work on your reading.
That's right. Exactly.
In a pressure situation, you know, and that's how my reading got to where it is. It's by no means killer, but I can fluff my way through because I've been in there.
That's right.
I've been forced to read the book.
Practicing reading at home for a week versus doing a show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no comparison. You have to do something at the show.
That's right.
And if you fall flat on your face, then there you go. There's your motivation to, okay.
Yeah, that's
need
right.
to work on that.
Completely.
Exactly.
So
Let
you
alone,
need
like,
to
filling
be
in or whatever.
constantly available on any situation and any setup. I mean, setup's the last thing. You know, I might carry a few toms in my car, and if there's a bit of spare room, great, chuck a
Chuck
floor
one on,
tom up and, you know, do this and that. If not, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd just go without toms.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
I could play 3 or 4 hours covers, no toms, don't even care.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be, and that's the thing. You need to be able to do that. You can't.
It's not like
Yeah.
I can't use my top.
How
am I
I'm not going to be able to
play-
do this gig. I
How
can't
am
do
I
this
going to
gig.
play Go Your Own Way
Yeah.
by Fleetwood Mac? I mean, that's got toms in it. It's like, figure it out.
You'll figure it out quick.
Yeah.
You
real
better
quick.
because it's first song. So
Yeah. You're in there.
But this is also where, like, as a working player, you never really have those sort of thoughts.
No.
Because it's like you've put in all of the time, and you put in all of the time from a maintenance perspective that it's like, doesn't matter. You know, if my kick drum, one of the spurs falls off, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in order to actually get to that point, you've kind of had a lot of those moments already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you get to a nice position where you're just fairly unfazed.
I think one thing that perhaps a hobbyist or a non-musician might be surprised or shocked at is the lack of time you have to prepare stuff.
Absolutely.
I've done musical theatre shows on no rehearsal.
Yep.
So you're literally given a book, 1, 2, 3, 4, see at the end.
Yep.
You know, and that's a paid gig.
Paid gig.
And if you can't read, you can't do the gig, right?
Ditto.
And same with teaching, actually, where I don't know what the student's going to bring in. People think teaching is pre-planning a series of lessons. That's not teaching.
No.
That's pre-planning a series of lessons.
Yeah.
Very different thing. So you could pre-plan stuff. What if the student comes in and doesn't want to learn that? What
It
if
happens
they're
every time. Yeah.
completely bored and you're doing lesson 1 for 10 weeks because
Yeah.
they just can't do it? You have to constantly
No,
you
hold
said,
the stick like
improvise.
this.
It's a constant. You need multiple angles to be approaching all this stuff.
That's right. Yeah. And that's so much in what you're going to do as a musician. Like, so for me at the moment, I mean, a lot of us, I guess, with COVID and that, the gigs have sort of gone away a little bit, sort of thing.
Yep.
You know, and but even before that, so I haven't really played regular gigs for a while because now my gig is, I've really gone into the whole teaching thing. And, I've seen other people that really gone into the recording thing, so they've got recording stuff at home. So this is still being a musician. This is still, and of course with the climate, the way things are going at the moment, as far as like, how kids are receiving music and all that sort of stuff, and, recording studios not being really there anymore. So, as a musician, you're just going, all right, well, how do we do this now? And I think that's that improvisation sort of thing that we do as musicians, as working musicians. We go, all right, what am I going to do now? And there's those lulls, right? Where there's nothing happening.
Yep.
It's like, and you go, well, what am I going to do?
Well, that's where teaching.
They're teaching is the thing.
This is why drummers teach.
Yeah.
Teaching is there. Well, I mean, one of the reasons. Some people really enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching. You enjoy teaching. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, to that point, I mean, so I taught for about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And had, at my busiest, I would have had about 40 odd students. I mean, they weren't all odd. Some of them were quite normal people. But there were a couple of oddballs. But to that point, so having like 40 odd students, I was teaching out of a music centre, which was great. And could bring my own students in, but they were also hunting students for me as well. So it was great, and they took care of all the book side of things, which is killer. I mean, one thing, musicians are not particularly renowned for really staunch bookkeeping,
and always completely confused when why can't I pay my rent this week?
Yeah.
Like, the music industry's. It's not very good because I can't pay my rent.
Can't pay my rent.
It's like, no, you just
go and get a job.
Yeah.
Which depending on the life that you want, you have to. Some of us have to, but that will be entirely particular. But I forgot what the hell I was saying. Why I don't teach. So I did fairly solid sort of 10 years or so, and that was, I come to the point. And I've kind of come to this point with pub gigs as well, or bar gigs, where I just didn't enjoy it. I felt like, and I was like, why am I just clubbing myself with this? Because the passion that I have for my instrument is, I feel as though that's almost being eroded a little bit by having to sort of get students to actually work. Like, the vast majority of students, I'd say, like, you're talking 99% of students are never really going to play drums.
No.
It's
sad, isn't it?
It's pretty, which is strange if you're going to someone for actual drum lessons. And then like the flip side of that as well is like with the gig side of things, obviously with COVID, like gigs have dried up. They've only really started to come back in the last couple of months in Auckland from what I can see. I basically retired from that world in August of 2020.
Family, kids, changes the whole equation.
It does, yeah.
And you got to balance off being out. Do you want to be out? I mean, I'm not getting any younger. Like, I'll be out for a big corporate thing or something, home at 2 a.m. Then it's like, man, I've got to go to work tomorrow. Like,
but also cumulatively, between the three of us, how much drunken shit have we listened to across,
that gets tired.
Across 60 years worth of sort of, I guess, gigging or whatever.
I'm not. When I first started gigging, I was more or less part of that party.
Yeah.
I was so excited to be out gigging. I'd be, driving into the gig and just on top of the world. I'm like, man, these guys, there'd be a queue out the door and, you walk in, the barman goes, yo, Andrew. And you're just part of that scene. And it's not like that now.
No. You walk into the bar. There's no queue. It's like, and you go fighting the spiders to get it. You sort of dump you, and then the bar guy's there, just sort of doing something. You go, hey, I'm in the band.
Oh, you guys are over there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
what, over there?
I can't have you set up until 9 because we've got the rugby on.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. And you're standing there, you're double parked, and it's raining, and it's like, it sounds like a real pity pot, but ultimately, this is like, for me, that's like 17 or 18 years of slog. And you just come to a point where I don't want to do it anymore. I'd much rather be at home with my wife and my baby.
Yeah. But at the same time, when you're younger, that's like, it's all about that. It's
Do
like,
it.
It's like,
Do
you
as
just,
much of it as you possibly can.
I did. I mean, at uni, in my second year of uni, I was gigging 4 or 5 times a week. 3 of them were residencies. So before anything came in, I already had 3 gigs a week.
Yeah.
And
Sorted.
I was loving it.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the playing at uni.
That's right.
And you're just flying over here, get a ticket here because you, like you
Yes,
said,
like,
got the hazard lights on and you've got to load the
Yeah.
gear in. And then I'd race home and pick up another drum kit and set it up at a wedding for after that gig. And it's like, man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But you'd be
I'm not
amazed
gonna-
how good you're playing.
Yeah.
Because you were just doing it,
Not even
all
thinking
the
about it.
time, and that's just it. It's just like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at the moment, actually, in my own playing, trying to get back to that. Because in like 2015, 2016, after a couple of years of, and it was leading back to like the working drummer piece. So you got to have multiple revenue streams, right?
Yeah,
You're doing a bit of teaching. I'm working in the shop, and I'm doing a bit of gigging, and I'm doing the odd session, once in a blue moon, right? So there's 4 revenue streams there, and then all of a sudden I found that I wasn't really enjoying my own playing as much. Because I was kind of giving a lot of it to everybody, which sounds kind of selfish, but it's like I could feel my passion for it just coming towards a burnout sort of piece. And actually, although you're playing so much, I remember actually sort of almost being a little bit self-aware in the end of 2016 and being like, my God, this is like, I feel as though I'm very much in touch with my total facility. And you sit down and it's like you're not thinking about things at all, and it's just there, and you just sort of
Could be watching a
talk
game
about it
on the
quite a
big
lot,
screen or something.
as far as like perma
Warm,
warm,
yeah.
and it's just because you were playing so much that it's always there,
On tap.
and that is a very, very tough thing to maintain.
There's a massive contradiction in catch-22 when you get to that point, and because you've got so much mileage behind you by that point, you played so much, nothing would surprise any of us at a gig, at a wedding. I've seen everything. Nothing would shock me at all. It's just amazing when you finally get that point, is when you do feel like, you know what? I'm kind of cooked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I'm quite there yet, but you might. It's like, well, there's nothing actually shocking to me here. I played Brown Eyed Girl 3,050 times now.
More times than anyone should ever have to.
That's right.
And that's where you can sort of start getting into that grumpy muso thing where maybe things aren't quite up to scratch. You might get called into a gig.
Yeah.
This is reality, and I saw this when I was coming up. I was always shocked at how grumpy the older musicians
The
were.
old always grumpy.
Why are you
as.
grumpy, man?
It's like, man, you are living the dream. I'd see Chris Harford at Drum City. I'd be like, man, I want to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's teaching all day. He's a great teacher.
Yeah.
And then he's out gigging. Oh, my God. And then when you're doing it, it's just like,
Yeah.
We are those grumpy old twats now.
yeah, and then you become grumpy. And like, it's hard, Like I had a gig a while back, coming back to Brown Eyed Girl. That little anacrusis on the bass, dum dum doo doo. There's that little lead in on the bass, and count the song off 1, 2, 3, and I was waiting for da 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 dum dum. Had a fill-in bassist, da 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 dum dum.
Yeah.
And it's these real little things that if you're not in the game, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't understand what that's like. It's like, even though I've never met you,
Yeah.
you said Brown Eyed Girl.
Yeah.
I expect you to know those are before the downbeat. And it's a real small thing of what it's like.
Yeah.
This is the real world.
Eagle song.
People are going to look at you weird.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it
Oh
easy.
my
Take it
gosh.
easy.
Just, you don't get it, eh? Some
Well,
people.
you always end up playing that just as downbeats.
Yeah, you do.
Well, you wind up.
Click, click.
I wind up just building it up.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Because it's just like there is so much guesswork. Certainly, if you've got, like, if I'm a fill-in drummer, or if there is a couple of fill-ins in the band, a couple of subs,
you don't go there, man.
it's just like I've now got so much mileage behind that, and I have seen that fall apart so many times.
You just know how
Even
to
when
It's
people
just like
say
I'm just gonna literally.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be rude, but
Yeah.
giving head
Yeah.
to the rest of the band. Here it is.
Yeah.
There.
For the record,
You know?
the guitar strum is an offbeat pre-intro starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear that guitar, well, the problem is a guitarist could do it, and you're thinking, okay,
Is he on the
feeling this?
or is he on
'Cause
the
it's
other?
like-
yeah.
and then you see that foot
Yeah,
going, and you
yeah.
go, no, he's
Nope.
not.
It's like
Yeah.
it's not because it's like I can put it exact. And it's like
He's not.
whack.
Now,
No.
this is like the useful stuff, and
so often.
what it's like, coming back to what it's actually like to be a working musician, you soon find out what's important and what's not. How the color of your drum kit is not going to make a difference to someone hiring you for a gig.
That's right.
If you can play a 9/8 and you can play, triple paradiddles at 64th notes, no one cares.
Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
I've never been asked to play a rudiment
No,
ever
no.
at a gig.
Apart from maybe drum roll, please.
Drum roll.
Yeah,
that's
that's a good
about
wedding
it.
or a good
Yeah, exactly.
corporate vibe.
Yeah,
Nobody
and
cares.
make sure you learn Happy Birthday because it's not in
Yeah.
4/4.
It's 5, isn't it?
Yeah, 5/8, 5/8, 25, 9, something. Yeah,
It's 27 over
Falls
yeah,
apart.
that's right. Yeah,
every
it's every
time.
time.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, of course, is that it may not, as a working musician, you may be you might want to just do recording.
For sure.
You might want to just do what is that working musician? It's like you might want to be that teaching thing again. That's a working musician. It might be the filling in guy if you can't actually do that anymore. I don't know whether anyone really does that, but it is having so many different things, and you can't just do the one thing, especially in New Zealand, at least.
It's
My-
multiple.
Yeah.
My opinion on this, like just being completely honest, has changed a lot in the last couple of years. I remember having Adam Tuminaro, the Orlando drummer, on the podcast, and I remember talking to him, and he sort of started talking about why he doesn't gig anymore, and he said he did a gig a few years ago, and that reminded him why he had stopped gigging.
Right.
And I remember thinking, I wasn't judging him, but I just remember thinking how strange it was. Like, man, he's such a great drummer. It's weird that he's not out there playing. I still remember thinking that. It was only a few years ago. Now I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well,
And like,
burnout is a real thing. It is a real thing because this is a job just like any other.
yeah,
And granted, it's our passion, and we absolutely love what we do. And I love nothing more than throwing down in a great band with a great sound to an audience who is appreciative and a little bit of banter in here and there, and everyone's having a good time. That's ultimately what it is. I love that. I hate, love hate.
Yeah.
I hate that it's not always like that. It's very infrequently.
there's
is it
nothing
actually
worse
like
than
that.
playing to the bar staff.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
All over the rugby. Or just,
It's like,
Or keep it down.
yeah,
We're a band.
yeah.
keep
Like,
it down.
You've hired us
Like,
as a band.
you're a rock band playing "Sweet Child of Mine" or playing whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they've billed you, like they've hired you as a rock band.
Yeah.
To get people up and dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, can you guys turn it down?
We
It's
just-
like,
My pet peeve,
why are we here?
Yeah.
weddings, if we're going to get into pet peeves, again, probably another episode.
Yeah.
Pet peeve is a venue who was quite happily taking 50 grand for the wedding,
Yep.
but knowing when they sign that contract that there's a band, and then you turn up and the venue manager says, "Hey, we've had a lot of noise problems. Just keep it down." It's like,
Oh,
look, man, you've taken the money.
yeah. Yeah.
You knew we were coming.
Yeah.
They want it,
They want
This
it
is
to
the-
crank. This is their
best
day.
night
We
of
want
their
this.
life.
Yeah.
and because you want it quiet. No.
Yeah.
No.
This might be a sort of an intrinsic New Zealand thing as well.
Possibly. Yeah.
Because when you see, or if you go out to like gigs in Aussie, like Australia for the uninitiated, they're loud.
Yeah.
They're loud, you know?
Yeah.
When you see like a rock band in the States, I mean, granted, none of us have been there for any time recently. But
it's
you can
American
see
volume.
they throw down. I mean, you know from your cruise ship experience.
Smashing it.
Absolutely throwing down. And that is, I'm not saying that every single gig and every single song should be, boom, you know, absolutely like nauseatingly loud. But there needs to be, like, for rock to actually translate
You wanna
and
feel
for
it.
pop to translate, it's got to be slamming. It has to be,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, an acoustic drum kit, to actually sound like
It's a naturally
you're starting to
loud
get into the
instrument.
tuning of the drum kit. Like if I know that the gig is going to be as quiet as a church mouse, I really should probably change how the whole kit's tuned because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
How I've got it tuned and like nothing's going to work. So if I play with
should also put a disclaimer there as well. Sorry to cut you off, but there is, you know, from a working musician perspective, you can always tell someone who is not a working musician.
Yes. Yep.
And they will, you know, just on that point, they'll say, oh, well, you can change your kit, you can tune it up, and you can have it. So from a technical perspective, yes. Are you going to do that every single song in a 4-hour set? Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on. Like,
You know not.
it's like, yeah.
But like there's everything. It does actually start from the drums. I mean, Steve Lukather has said you're screwed without a good drummer, without a good drum track. There's nothing you can do.
Steve Lukather, the guitarist for Toto, recorded 1 or 2 songs in his time.
If we can agree with that, I mean, and then you take that to a gig where you're timid,
Yeah.
and
Little bass drum.
tapping. Oh, whoops! I had the crash. I edged it, and I was supposed to just ping it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing like that for 4 hours, is your singer confident? Are they just in seventh heaven and going in?
Yeah.
Is the bass player just like, oh, feeling it? No. Nothing is working. Nothing works. I mean, to a point. I mean, our covers group that I regularly play with, I don't think we're a particularly loud group. There's a couple of venues where we're the only band that's allowed to play there.
Right.
But in saying that, there's a point, there's a noise floor where anything below that, like, what's the point of us being here?
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing. You could put a CD on or phone.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like we're not delivering
Yeah.
what the people have actually paid for.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to dig in and all that
I mean,
sort of stuff.
for me, a good gig is not, it's got nothing to do with my drumming. Is the dance floor packed?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would expect everybody's coming up at the end and like, you're the best band we've ever seen.
Yeah.
He was dancing, he never dances. And, you know,
That's what
and
you
everyone's
want.
just like, oh my God, sweating, they got shoes off.
Play another one.
Yeah.
Packing up, you know, and they're still coming up.
I mean,
How
if they're-
good.
I love
How
that
good.
one.
Loading out drums.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're the DJ.
You guys start. What time do you start?
Yeah, it's like, it's just been on.
Oh,
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I want to go home.
Yeah. Just one of my pet peeve things at weddings is like when they organise it, they put, you know, Grandma Sylvia, who's come all the way from whatever, you know, right beside the band.
Right in from Oklahoma.
Can you,
yeah.
like, she can't hear. She's a bit hard of hearing. Can you just keep it down? Or like, you know, and you get like, and then the bride comes
Can't
up and
hear,
says,
she'll be sweet.
the bride comes up and says, "Can you crank it?" Like, you know, and then you know, the mother
venue
of
manager
comes over. Can you guys keep it down? It's like,
No.
No.
You know what? We can't actually do all this.
yeah, we can't. I'll tell you
It's
what.
probably easiest just to say, yep, and just do nothing.
And that's pretty much what you. You know it, eh? You go. They say, look, we're thinking about this type of songs and this type of volume, and you just go,
Great
yes,
idea.
great, that's awesome.
That's
and then
pretty good.
you just go up and you do the thing that you do,
Yeah.
and then they come up and they say, and that's part of that working musician thing. You see the crowd, you
Yeah.
know what they need, and you deliver.
Oh, the amount of times I've had, we would really like some 70s B-side Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And if you guys could do, there's a couple of Fleetwood Mac songs that are really special to us, but no one knows it. It's like, great.
But
No
we'll do
worries.
them. We'll do
got
them.
Got
yeah.
'em.
And it's, you know what? There's 80, 90 other people at this wedding.
Yeah.
they don't care.
No, and if everyone's
Do you want
dancing,
everyone at this wedding to have a good time?
Yeah.
Because there's a certain set of songs that everyone's just going to lose their mind and sing all the words to, and it's going to be the best wedding they've ever been to, or not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Like, I know. I've done the gigs. You haven't.
yeah.
That's what you want to say.
Exactly. But you got to.
But you just say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. My thing, especially at pubs, before I stopped doing pub gigs, was I would just say yes to everything.
Yep.
Oh, do you guys do blah, blah, blah? Yep.
Yeah, we
Sure.
do that. Absolutely.
Do you do In Sync, this and that? Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you do Barbie Girl by Aqua? Yep.
Sure do.
Yep.
And then at the end of the night when they go, I did it.
Yeah, we did it. We did it halfway
did it.
through.
You must have gone
You
out.
too.
You might have been in the bathroom there.
See,
at
look,
the
this
bar,
is the
perhaps.
problem. You can't hold your liquor.
Yeah.
We did the
Yeah.
Barbie Girl in sync mashup.
Yeah. It was amazing.
It was a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful
One person-
13 minutes for us
Yeah.
all.
One person got up and said, "Be quiet." Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have one more segment
Yep.
to wrap
Sure.
things up. And remember, complaints, comments, and that are down below or straight to Chris. He loves it.
I love it.
You become complaints manager.
Yeah.
We will see you on the next one.